Today, I'm gonna build the smallest possible display for my Lego minifigure from the series 25. And if you stick around until the end of the video, I will have a little bonus build for you. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you remember, not long ago, I built a sort of landscape display for my D&D minifigure and for my space minifigure. Those worked well in my MISB display case as well as on their own on display. So today I try to experiment a little bit, and here you have a couple of examples. These are not from the series 25, these are, I think, the series 24. I was trying to come up with some sort of way to display this minifigure, because the landscape idea that I had didn't work for this because the minifigure are so different from one another. So I need to find something to do to tie them together. And this first idea didn't work, so I scrapped this one. Then I thought, because the color of the series is yellow, then I thought maybe I can build a yellow base, and this is a little bit what I had in mind, maybe with a little bit of different heights, and then display the minifigure on their own with just a few details. Here you can see some footage from my membership program, my Dreamers member weekly vlog, and I think the idea could have worked, but I didn't have all the parts needed, and also I need to build around the studs of my display case. So what I did is, what if I build something small, I take one minifigure and build something that can work for everyone. So my first experimentation was very, very simple. So I started to experiment with some rounded display, and then I built a smaller base. In this case, I started and I decided that also because the size of the display that I'm working with, 5 by 5 would be the best display area for me. So here, for example, I just have the display. You have one plate and one tile, and I added a taller detail in the background. This is a sticker from some Lego extra sticker sheet like this one. So this was the first experiment. Very simple, very straightforward. I think everybody has the parts to build something like this. And then I continue building around it and always experiment a little bit further. So I have some simple one that took inspiration from the one, for example, this one is the Noir Detective, took inspiration from the one from the habitat that I already built for all the series. So for example, here we're going to just add a lamppost and a bin over here. Another very simple and straightforward build. A similar thing I did for the dog groomer, but again, you see that this is still pretty simple. Yeah, I had a little dog poo there. For this one, for example, I didn't know what to do, so I just added a piece of wall, open sign over there, and then, of course, because we are cutting hair, then we're gonna need a broom. So you can see that here is still very simple and straightforward. But I realized that putting them together, they actually look pretty okay. At the bottom side, I have one space, so potentially you can add one long plate that connect them all together all in one strip. So you can see that even if you display them like this, they don't look that bad. I actually decided to stagger them around a little bit, so you can see they are a little bit different, so that once I put them in my display, they will be a little bit staggered one stud. I think they look a little bit nicer like that. And potentially you can play around also a little bit with the elevation. So for example, this one I raise it up a little bit. This one is for the fitness instructor, I think it's called. So for this one, following the same color of the habitat that I did for this minifigure, I'm gonna add a bench over here, a radio at the back side. The minifigure is gonna be over here. I need to be a little bit careful with the overhang so that the minifigure don't like bump into each other. Here we're gonna put the Vita Rush. And also I'm gonna add a couple of extra detail in the form of this elastic band. That could be some regular exercise elastic band. And I have this piece that I think is a minifigure cast piece that I think will look good as a towel. It's probably gonna fall over, but you get the idea. I also play around a little bit with the colors and with the angle. So here I build a desk for the gamer minifigure. It's gonna connect to those studs over there. Here we have the three accessories that come with the minifigure, and at the back I add another sticker here on a clear screen to complete the set. And then we can just add the minifigure over here, like so. So you can see this is gonna go more or less like this. And I also, maybe I should swap this, I don't remember the exact order. I also experimented a little bit with bricks. So here you can see I have the same gap. This is going to be at the beginning of my display. I will show you that in a moment. And then I can build up. So this one is the one that I made for the runner minifigure. So I just need to add the extra pieces of the podium. And because I think this was a little bit plain, I decided to extend a little bit at the back to add some flags. In this case, I picked my Italian flags, Italian color for the flags, but you can do whatever you like with your minifigures. Actually, I also have the joystick to give to the gamer here to give a little bit of extra detail. So this was the first set I did. Very simple, very straightforward. You can see with very simple parts you can make something quite interesting. You can see also that it looks pretty nice on the display. But then I wanted to step it up a little bit. By the way, while I move this out of the way, I'm going to show you quickly the display case that I'm using. I featured this before on my channel. This is the MISB display. I will put a link in the description down below. It fits, I think, 180 minifigure on 5 layers. And because people say that minifigure legs might ruin a little bit if you put them on these plexiglass studs, this one comes also with the studs, the TransClear studs, official Lego ones. That is to preserve the legs of the minifigure. I will put a link in the description down below. If you add the A Brick Dreamer promo, you should have a 10% off. So feel free to go and check it out. Of course, the shipping might be expensive based on which area of the world you are. If you are in Singapore, of course, it's the best place for you to get it. Moving on, I try to experiment with a little bit of irregular bases. So for example, here you can see I started to use some slopes. So the front of the base is a little bit irregular. And then I extended a little bit at the back. Okay, so you can see I still have that space to run on my display case. You don't need this. You can just put them all together. And this is going to be the one for the goat. So I'm going to complete same color scheme as the habitat. The goat is going to be on top over here. And then the character over here on a nice position. So you can see that it's starting to be a little bit more interesting. I'm playing a little bit with colors. So again, here I have to align a little bit this. Again, I'm keeping that staggered design, but with irregular shapes. So I'm using some wedge plates over here at the front. The color scheme is brown, then dark orange, and dark green. This one will be the one for a barbarian. So I'm gonna just add one mushroom over here and one bigger trunk piece over there. And the barbarian, that by the way, I realized that this leg has little clutch power. I don't know if it's just a problem of my minifigure, or let me know in the comments if it's something that happened to yours as well. And it's not the only minifigure. The RP minifigure from this same series we'll see later have the same issue. Then I experiment even more with the color scheme. So here is dark tan, and this one I think is yellowish green, if I'm not wrong. And this is the one for the dinosaur. So I'm planning to have the dinosaur kind of running over here, design the dinosaur costume. And to complete that, I'm gonna adjust a small plant over here. So basically, you see, I have 1 or 2 colors for the base, here 3, and then just 1 or 2 extra details in each, let's call it habitat, even though this is not the standard habitat as I used to do. Here we have the small Velociraptor. So they're like sort of racing and chasing each other. So I think this is pretty cool. And they fit quite well next to each other. I try to alternate the colors a little bit. One of my favorites is actually the one for the mushroom. So here is the base. I'm using this big part that I find in one of the botanical pieces, this round piece. I think it's pretty interesting. And here is where I'm going to add the mushroom. We can put it forward, we can put it backward, up to you. I think they look good if you alternate a little bit. So this is going to be something like this. At the back side, I added this plant piece backwards, upside down. On top, I added the butterfly that come with the set, so with this minifigure. And then I added a bigger mushroom piece here with this snot brick over here at the back. White piece coming up, and then you can see this one is pretty cool. So you can see that just a few pieces, and this could look well as a standalone piece. So if you just have this minifigure and you want to display in a nice way, here we go. How many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 parts, okay? And this is one of the most part intensive. If you go back to the previous one, is even lesser than that. Then, because the space of my display is a little bit smaller, then I have to make a double display at the end. So this, instead of being 10 studs long, is 9 studs long. I'm using bright green that I rarely use in my mocks because I don't have many of those. I did a little bit of sideways building for some rocks. And then at the back, I build a sort of castle, ruin kind of area. And then here we're going to have a sort of battle between the Bat Lord, that is going to be over here, and on top with the Harpy, that again, I said this connection is this clutch power of the legs are not very good. So you can see this minifigure keep falling off because I think because of the shape of this. I don't know if it's because of the color, the dark blue, or if it's because of the shape of these particular legs, then the clutch power is a little bit weak. Let me know if it's a common problem. So this is how it looks, and I also gonna show you now putting them together in my display case. So here I have a few pictures, a few videos that I can show you. It looks pretty good in my display, and I think it's a good solution to keep the minifigure together. I could do more of those landscape if I take minifigure from different series. For example, all the custom minifigure, all the space minifigure, all the sports minifigure, and go in teams. But I think collectors prefer to keep the series of minifigure all together. So I think this is better so that I can display the whole series together. Now, since we are at the end, I'm going to give you one, you made it until here, I'm going to show you my extra build. Nothing related to this, but I did a small build for November 2024. I talk about this in the contest, this contest in my weekly mock builder news video. So here is how it started. So I work around the Nerdly mascot to create a Dragon Ball Super Saiyan version. So actually the dimension of the suggested dimension is a 6x6. I decided to scale it down to a 4x4. And initially I was playing around with the idea of using the banana pieces to do the hair. I think it might potentially work, but it's a little bit too sparse and I think there will be too many gaps. So I decided to brick build it, and that's not my first time. I already built a Goku maybe a couple of years ago now. On my channel you can find the video. And it's also not my first November. I have two builds from the last year and the year before. The theme of the November contest was a little bit different, but you can go and check them out and find them here on my channel. I will link them down below. Anyway, this is what I built. I think it worked quite kind of well. I have still a couple of banana pieces, so potentially I could submit this to the banana contest on New Elementary, but I have some other plans for that. After that, I decided that the head is not enough, so I decided to build a sort of body for this big Super Saiyan. Of course, the body scale is a little bit smaller than the head because I think it looks more fun like this. I have a couple of power blasts coming here. Of course, the backside is a disaster, but here I just needed to take a picture. And then I wanted to create also a base in a similar style to what I did to the old one, but instead of going with dark gray, I went with dark tan. So here is all snot bricks, very simple in 4 direction. A little bit of landscaping here with some slopes, with some wedge plate, a couple of floating pieces, floating rocks go around, and here we have one of the feet of the minifigure of the character that is gonna stand up over here. So here I'm gonna show you the picture that I took. I'm not too sure about the background color, but that's what I went for. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think about my display solution, and let me know what you think about this Dragon Ball build. Also, if you want to get this Series 25, I found they still have it on Amazon US, and they sell the full series of 12, which is not common, for $69.99, $70. So usually you can buy these individually or in a box of 36. So if you want the full pack of 12, this is a good solution. It's affiliate link. I will put in the description down below, and that's a way to support the channel. Otherwise, please consider to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see my display landscape about D&D and space, if you missed the video, I will link it over here on screen now, and you can go and check it out. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week. Ciao, ciao!